Hello, this is Nursology Life. If this is your first time viewing this channel, welcome. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. If not, welcome back. And what are you waiting on to subscribe? And while you're at it, like this video and ring that bell. Today is Thursday, June 23rd, 2022, and this message goes out to all male and female licensed practical nurses known as LPNs, saving, improving, and maintaining lives on the front lines of healthcare. I am CK, an 11-year LPN veteran, and I am here to provide you with tips on becoming an LPN and doing it like a boss. This is not going to be a long drawn-out video, and I'm assuming that whoever is watching this video is already a high school graduate or has earned your GED. If not, click off this video, go take care of your business, then come back. So let's get started with the first order of business, finding an LPN program. The first thing you want to do is search around the best LPN program, preferably in your own state, because most programs will charge more for out-of-state residents, even if you are on a dividing line. What do I mean by dividing line? For instance, I can walk from my house to the next state over, and if I would have decided to attend a program in the state that is only a block away from me, I would still have ended up with more out-of-pocket expense. So keep that in mind. LPN programs can be taken in a college or technical school. The choice is up to you, but the time lengths may vary. Also, an LPN program should only be for no more than 1 year. Some programs offer 6 months depending on what state you live in. Please do not attend a 2-year LPN program because those kinds of schools are super expensive. I feel that those kinds of schools are predatory in nature, especially to those who don't have a lot of knowledge about schools beyond high school in general, such as the average cost of obtaining an LPN diploma and accreditations required. So do your research so that you don't stand to be out of a lot of money, and plus having a loan to pay back, which is totally unnecessary. Besides, if you're going to go to school for 2 years, you may as well go to be an RN, which is a registered nurse. But whatever you decide to do, make sure the costs make sense. It is affordable and accredited by either the Accreditation Commission for Education and Nursing, known as the ACEN, or the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education, known as CCNE. These are the two main governing bodies in North America. Also, try to avoid online schools for the LPN track because they may not have the accreditation you need to even use your diploma. If you do decide that attending an online program is best for you, go to Google and type in hybrid LPN program or asynchronistic LPN programs to see if any shows up in your area. There is a really good one called Lake Area Technical College in South Dakota, which has online and in-class components and is an 11-year program. The best way to find out if your diploma can be used after attending a program is to call up a local nursing home or assisted living facility and ask them, hey, do you accept nurses from this program? Or what program in this city do you accept LPNs from? And they should be able to lead you in the right direction. You do not want to waste a lot of time and money just to get to the end and find out that you cannot work as an LPN and to find out that you've been scammed. Trust me, it has happened to unsuspecting people looking to start careers who didn't read the fine print in the past. NCLEX and graduation pass rates. Another way to find out if the school is a right fit for you is to research their NCLEX and graduation pass rates. Graduation rates are a telltale signs of a school's performance in cranking out first-time graduates. The NCLEX pass rates tells us how prepared the student was before taking the exam and is a direct reflection of the school they attended, so keep that in mind. Once you've decided on the right school to attend, there will also be an entrance exam. I graduated back in 2010, so I forgot the name of the entrance exam. I think it was the NET, N-E-T. But there is also the HESI, and there are also other popular ones like PACS. So make sure you do some research on entrance exams. One thing I can say is that all of them should have reading comprehension and math. Now, with the NET, which is the one I think I took, I'm almost sure of it, even though it had science, math, and reading comprehension, the math and reading comprehension had more weight in regards to whether I passed or failed the exam. Don't do like I did and just go and take the exam. Find out what exam is offered in the school with the school that you have chosen, and do a little research on it. Why do I say this? Well, because the first time I took the test, I failed the math portion. So I had to wait a while before I could take it again. So what I did after I failed the first time, I went to YouTube and searched for math tutors who taught on YouTube. I did not have to pay a tutor. I just watched this man on Khan Academy do math problems starting from long multiplications all the way to calculus. So what I did was take myself all the way from third grade math to high school senior math. When I went back to take the test the second time, I aced that math portion, so much so that I had, when I had my interview with the nurse director of the school, she commended me on scoring very high the second time around. As far as reading comprehension is concerned, if you're someone who struggles with that, I would suggest you read the questions first, then read the paragraph. This may help you get through the portion with a little more ease and less anxiety. But if you pass the reading comprehension this way, be sure to go out and find a book on reading comprehension to sharpen that skill, because you will need it in the world of nursing. Financial aid. So let's talk a little about the money, honey. Of course, we know that nursing school is not free and can become very expensive. Make sure the school accepts government financial assistance for education beyond high school, such as the Pell Grant or any other grant that you can apply for. And I would apply for all of them if possible. Sometimes this will be enough depending on your financial circumstances. If you are receiving food stamps and other state assistance, you may qualify for more assistance. Just ask the Human Services Office you are receiving assistance from, like Children and Family Services, the WIC program, etc. If you are working a low-wage job, there may be other kinds of assistance available to you as well via the school you apply with. For instance, when I was accepted to LPN school back in 2019, I was working a low-wage job as a nursing assistant. So I qualified for extra assistance through this government-ran job center, where the public would go and learn about how to conduct job interviews, type up resumes, cover letters, and things of that sort. Well, this particular job center collaborated with the school to help low-wage earners to acquire nursing uniforms and nursing tools such as stethoscopes, blood pressure cuffs, thermometers, and they even assisted with paying for nursing shoes and nursing bags needed for clinicals. If it wasn't for this state-ran program, I would have used up all of my grant money on school alone. But since I had their help, that extra money went to maintaining my car to get back and forth to school, and provided for some household expenses needed at that time, because I had to quit my job to attend school, because my program went Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 p.m. So make sure you check into every program that is available to you, and I mean really exhaust your resources. Getting accepted into LPN school. Now here is the best part. Getting accepted into a program. When I received my acceptance letter, I felt like I had walked into a gas station, purchased a lottery ticket, and hit for $1,000. That's how excited I was. Little did I know that I was entering into the hardest part of the process, and that was getting through the program. When I started LPN school back in January of 2010, I was oblivious to classroom politics, cliques, and circles. What do I mean by that? Well, the key to survival in nursing school is who you decide to partner with in terms of a study group or study partner. In nursing school, you may have several study groups spread across all areas of nursing. and learning. You may also see 2 to 3 study groups where it may become very cliquish. For instance, when I attended LPN school, I ended up with the unpopular study group. We were unpopular because there were a couple of students in my group who some of the instructors didn't like. It wasn't that these students were bad people. It was just that they, like myself, spent a lot of time in the medical field working amongst nurses before applying to LPN school, and they came off as kind of arrogant and know-it-alls. But they were super smart, and of course I wanted to be a part of that group that was super smart versus the group that was super popular with the instructors. We even had a 65-year-old white male who just folded a business, and he was a retired veteran as a member of our group. And his only reason for attending LPN school was to land a job with the VA hospital and retire there. And he did just that. So age is no barrier. There was also a very young African girl who received her citizenship papers and was a single mom in our study group. Our group was more diverse in ethnicities and age, and that helped a lot with the various styles of learning. Then there were a few students who decided to be loners. Only one student who decided to be a loner made it, and she was the valedictorian. The others didn't make it. But in the end, it's your choice in how you go about getting your diploma. But in my opinion and experience, it is always good to have a study group or at least a partner. And so what we would do in our group is assign roles to one another. I was the transcriber. Someone else gathered up definitions of medical terms for everyone's use, and someone else in the group was the researcher to explain systems inside and out. We were serious about graduating, and that's why we created a system within the group. In my particular role as transcriber, I would bring in a recorder the size of a mini TV remote control that no one could see. In my program, there were no stipulations against that. The rules and bylaws were silent on having recorders in the classroom, but I kept it hidden. Not even my study group knew about it. They just knew that my job was to transcribe classroom learning, and they knew I was very good at it. So I would go home, listen to the recorder, and transcribe, then pass out transcriptions to my study group. Now, if you decide that this is something that you are going to do, review the laws and bylaws of the program. And if you find that it is okay to do, actually listen to the instructor. Don't rely on the recording to do all the work for you, because you will have so many things thrown at you all at once. You will not always feel like going home and listen to a 7-hour recording every day. Just use it as backup for an exam or something like that. Since my job was to transcribe, I had to summarize from the recorder once I made it home. This helped our study group tremendously. Mindset. Nursing school can be very emotionally taxing. I cried at least 2 times a week for that entire year due to classroom politics, watching members of my study group be ostracized by instructors and having all-out arguments. Let me tell you, it was ghetto fabulous, and it took everything within me to get through that year. I even had an instructor stare me down at the beginning of class one time, so much so that I felt like she would become my arch enemy and use everything in her toolbox to fail me. Remember when I said I was part of the unpopular group? Well, there is this unwritten rule of life called guilty by association, and I knew that I would need to keep my wits about me, so I kept very quiet, stayed in my lane, study group, and worked my butt off regardless of the darts that were thrown at me by instructors and even other students. And it was a lot of them. But in the end, I made it by sheer determination and the help of my study group. So please keep in mind that all instructors may not love you, especially if they are messy and use other students against you and your study group, which is a real thing. And I'm sure the program I attended is not the only one in North America that has this kind of culture within the classrooms. In fact, one day during lunch break, one of the ladies in my study group pointed to an instructor eating alone, and she turned to us and said, "One thing you never do is allow your instructor to eat alone." So we all gathered our lunches and sat at the table with her. That's just a little tip from the invisible book of unwritten rules. NCLEX. Also, there is something called NCLEX. The NCLEX is a guide for examination development as well as candidate preparation. The NCLEX, which stands for the National Council Licensure Examination, assesses the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are essential for the entry-level nurse to use in order to meet the needs of clients requiring the promotion, maintenance, or restoration of health. Passing the NCLEX exam means that you have demonstrated an ability to safely practice nursing. So when I was attending LPN school, the NCLEX was introduced to us towards the end of the program, even though we had to purchase the book at the beginning. My suggestions, and something that our study group did, was that we studied this book from the beginning and used it as a supplemental guide to our coursework. For instance, when we finally made it to pharmacology, we used the NCLEX as a supplemental guide in the area of pharmacology to get a more robust understanding in that area. The program emphasized using it right before clinicals, which we felt was a little too late. So my advice is to use it from the beginning to get it into your system, so that anxiety decreases tremendously as you get closer to clinicals and exam time, because you will be more confident. Once you've passed your NCLEX PN, you are on your way to experiencing your career as an LPN in real time, and this is where your real life learning experiences will take place. Furthering your education. If you find that nursing is where you want to retire, keep moving it forward. Don't do like I did and work as an LPN for 10 plus years. Work a year or two, then move on to becoming an RN. Then get your bachelor's, then master's, then PhD. Go as far as you possibly can go. You know, in nursing, a great skill to have is critical thinking. Critical thinking skills will carry you very far in your career, and it will even help with communication skills as well. One book to read and study is called Critical Thinking in Nursing, a cognitive skills workbook by Sandra K. Leip and Sharon Beasley. It has more great reviews on Amazon than negative reviews, and is a good addition to your library as you further your career in one of the most respected fields in the world. This is Nursology Life. Thank you for listening, and until next time.